Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is the Hell of the Tech Guy, and this will be my second video on variables and data types. That's why it's part two, but really, it's my third video because I'm back. I'm sorry for the late upload. I've been trying to work out a proper YouTube schedule so that you guys can have consistent content on consistent days. And if you could, please in the comment section tell me what day you'd prefer for me to do uploads, and I'd really appreciate that. All right. So last time we talked about how to declare and use variables in Java, specifically creating integer type variables. But this isn't the only type of variable we can create in Java. Today we'll be looking at various data types and creating variables of that type. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to have more fun with variables, because we love variables here. Variables is something important in programming. It's an important form of storing memory. Like, why not? And then we will make different types of variables outside integers, of course, because we've had enough of integers. I just want to clarify one thing about integers before we go forward. One funny story actually. My nephew actually texted me. He was like, "Yo, I don't get what integers are," and I was like, "Okay, just in case for my mathletes, I will say integers are whole numbers that could be positive or negative. For the mathletes that don't, understand simple talk like the rest of us humanity, but it's whatever. It's cool. So before we looked at making integer types of variables, which store non-decimal numbers, which could be positive or negative, basically whole numbers. We can create other types of variables too, though, and we will start with floating point data types. This is a fancy term for decimal points, for decimal point values, because in programming, we like to use more fancy, very bougie terms, because we're programmers, We just we wouldn't say decimal points. Just like, look at that float. Look at that floating point. Watch it float. Watch it go in the waters. Beautiful, ain't it? Anyway, let's just move forward. Let's move forward with notes. So we need this for more accurate calculations, such as scientific calculations. For example, the area of a circle. We can't do this with integers unless we are not prioritizing accuracy, because 3.14 times 2 is not the same as 3 times 2, because, accuracy, sometimes we want that decimal point. We might need that decimal point if we're working with currency. We might need it if we're working with measurements. For the sake of accuracy, accuracy is important in our calculation. So this type has two subtypes, which are floats and doubles. The difference between both of these is that doubles can store more accurate decimal numbers than a float. A float can only hold a maximum of 7 digits after the decimal point, but a double can store more. So don't get it confused. Floats and floating point data types. Okay, floating point data types are like everything to do with decimals, and within that there are two subtypes, which is it's the regular float and a double. A double is more accurate than a regular float. And for the sake of making this simple, we will just use doubles because why not? But you have the option of using both, just so you know. You don't have to follow the rules unless, like, you specifically need more. How we declare floating point type variables. Okay, how do we declare a float? It's just float value 1. If you don't remember from last time, how we declare variables is the type goes first, then the name of what we want to call that variable. We don't need to call it value 1. We can call it Tom, we can call it Jack, we can call it Jill, we can call it whatever we want, because it's our programming language. It's our program. We can call it whatever we want. But it's always better practice to name things something simple that when other programmers read it, they can understand. Don't name float Tom or Jack. Unless you have a very specific reason why you have to name it Tom or Jack. How we declare a double type? Double value 2. So remember, we start with the type first, then what we want to name that variable. That's how it works in Java. Different languages have different syntax for declaring variables, but it's basically this. Boolean data type. Boolean data type is a data type that can only store two possible values, true or false. This is useful because most things can either be true or false. Like right now, if I am sitting down is a true or false question. It's either I am sitting or I am not. I cannot be doing both at the same time. That's not how it works. And I know you're probably thinking about people leaning on walls on their butt, but that's not the same thing as sitting and standing. That's leaning on the wall. Right? It's leaning on the wall. It's leaning on the wall. Warning. Here's a little warning I wrote down. Do not try to store anything except true or false in Boolean type variables because it won't work. It won't work. Do not try to put other types. Do not try to put other types in other types. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's a very specific memory location. It's not how it works. Do not do this. Do not do this. I don't know how many times I have to do not do this. So how do we declare Boolean type variables? The same way we declare all variables. We start with the type, then what we want to name the variable. So Boolean value 1. Now here's a little tip, you know what I'm saying? A little tippy tip. Initialize it to true or false before you use a Boolean variable because, it's just better programming practice and just in case you don't put a value in later. For example, value 1 is equal to false and other code that uses value 1. Next, we will look at chart types. This is useful to store characters such as A, B, C, question mark, etc. Characters. That's what chart type means. It stores characters. Like the characters you type in text, the letters, those are all characters. The symbols, the signs, those are all characters. The computer stores those things as characters. Characters are literals enclosed in single type quotations, not double quotations. Like my relationship status right now. Chart type can only store one character at a time. Do not try to store multiple characters. You cannot store a word in a chart type. It's not how it works. So how do we declare chart type? Char value 1. We start with the type first, then what we want to name that variable. And for now, this is the end of, I don't know, I guess the lecture portion of the video. And next, we're going to be moving to the actual coding, which is fun. And we're going to do it in VS Code as usual. So let's get hype. Come on, y'all. We can do this. We can do this. So this is the coding section of our video. Today, we're going to make floating point data types, which are doubles and floats. We're going to make Boolean data types, which only store true or false. And we're going to make characters, which only store characters. So I'm pretty sure y'all can see the run and debug right here, and you're probably wondering why this is here. This is to make it easier to run programs. We're going to talk about debugging later, but this is just so that we don't go through what we're going through the other weeks where we would type in Java C and the name of the file and Java and the name of the class. We're not going to do that no more. We're using what's called a plugin. VS Code has many plugins to help us run many types of programs. The reason why I use VS Code is because VS Code is an IDE that's not, or rather, it's a text editor that's not dependent on the language. You can run any language on VS Code as long as you have the plugin. So to get the plugin, or the extension as they call it, we have to go here and you have to type in the extension. The extension I recommend is the Java extension pack. This will download all these for you and they will all be enabled to make it easier for you to run code. So just to test it, I will write down system dot out dot println and hello, how are you doing? So go and run, and there it typed in hello, or typed out hello. So let's get started with our variables. So as I told you before, we don't really have a need to use floats. So we'll just start with doubles. So write double value 1 is equal to 3.2. Then we'll go write system the out dot print line, and this will print out 3.2, which is here. Now I'm sure you're wondering what will happen if we just put an integer, or if maybe you're not. So just put 3. Remember, integers are just whole numbers that can be positive or negative. So just put 3 there. So let's see how to print out. So we'll press run again, and it prints out 3.0 because it stores floating point type values. So it will convert any integer into a float. So let's try looking into something else. Next, we're going to make a Boolean type. So Boolean value 1 is equal to false. And we'll run this. And it says false. Okay, so to make this a bit clearer for y'all, all you have to do is type in the command clear, and the screen clears, just in case it gets congested in the Java process console. So next we're gonna look at storing characters. So we'll say char, and we'll type in, remember, characters use single quotations, 2, and it prints out 2. This is different from an integer. This is a character of the value 2. So we'll type in A as well. A. So remember, characters have single quotations. And that's it so far. That's everything we've done. Now just to prove the character thing, if I go in here, because Java recognizes single quotations as characters, and say 1 plus 2, and if we comment this out and we run this, it won't be 3 because these are characters. They're not regular numbers. It says 99 because those are the values of the character. Each letter has an associated number to it in a computer. That's why it doesn't say 3. So these are characters. These are not numbers. If I put single quotations, whenever we use single quotations, they are not numbers, they're characters. They're characters. So next week we'll be looking at something called strings in part 2. No, in part 3 actually. We'll be looking at something called strings in part 3. And that will be like our final thing on the data types. And we can move on to control structures, loops, and the more fun stuff. I hope this has been invigorating for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had a great time watching this. So please share, like, and subscribe, and thank you for watching this week. My name is Taylor the Tech Guy, and I'm out. Young boy unafraid, paying no mind to me. Ain't nobody gonna spend no time with me when it's really so clear that a nigga so weird. He saw my